Hey everyone, how are you guys doing today? Thanks for tuning in. My name is Tammy Davis, for those of you who are unfamiliar with me. And yes, I look like I just got done working out because I did. Um, but I'm doing this because I'm making this video now because it's very much on my mind. I've been in a conversation for the most of the morning, um, actually, believe it or not, with my daughter and my son, between my daughter and my son. And he actually pointed out, he was referring to, okay, so yeah, this has a lot to do with brain health. This has everything to do with trauma. I'm going to get involved with addiction here. And one of the things he pointed out was with regards to racism. I guess obviously everything that's currently going on in our world, and this is June 2020, in case you're watching this in the future. But June 2020, we are in the midst of a lot of protests still going on, and very much involved with Black Lives Matter. And this is even, it's just, there's a lot happening right now, as you are probably were very well aware of. So at any rate, he was looking into all of this with regards to racism and pointed out, and I guess with Juneteenth um, taking place, even after, it took place in Texas, and it was after we'd already emancipated the slaves. It was just, he was bringing this up, and so I don't know his full scope of research, but he pointed out that all of this centers around, this is where the drug wars are based on, is racism. And I had to put my foot down. I just completely disagree. I've had it with the racism thing. The issue that we currently face in this world has very little to do with skin color. We can make it about skin color if we want, but the fact is it has everything to do with the haves and the have-nots. And this is where I, kind of jumped in because my daughter she's got a very interesting history, and so she's very much about mental health and homelessness and really helping to, devise systems that support these people. And she pointed out that it's more of a classism thing rather than a racism thing. And so, like I said, I stepped in because when you hear the word war, it basically means business. The idea of a drug war is simply an illusion. It's designed to divide us and overpower us. It's to give us this sense of control when in fact it has nothing to do with skin color, like I said, although there may be some, although the recent deaths, unfortunately, were Black people. Um, why we don't talk more about the white people. And I did a video recently on the statistics with regards to white on white and black on black. I mean, the killing that we're doing is off the charts. And I feel that has a lot to do with brain health. As you know, brain health is a significant factor in the quality of our mental health. Now, recently I did a video on trauma, and so, asserting that a majority of us are living with some degree of trauma. And it doesn't have to be just mental and emotional, it could be physical. I mean, okay. So, this is a recent report that a client of mine went through. He went to a clinic in New York, and they're faxing me these brain scans. And what's interesting is he's been being treated for psychotic activity. Nobody's come out with the definition schizophrenia just yet, but he is clearly on a couple of antipsychotics. And his behavior wasn't getting any worse, so they went to this clinic, and these scans were done, and these scans are revealing traumatic brain injury. Now, when I discussed with the family up front about any sort of trauma, stressful trauma, nobody said anything about falling on his head. I'm assuming I'm going to talk to them again tomorrow. But the point is that trauma is significant. It's a stressor to the body. and it will activate. And so this is what happens when I say that the autonomic nervous system is now on high alert. Any sort of trauma, because now you're on high alert. You know, if you've fallen off a horse, you don't want to get back on the horse, and if you get on the horse, you're constantly, white knuckling it. How many of us are actually white knuckling life? That degree of reactivity is what's leading to a lot of the mental disorder, if you will. And I use that term intentionally. When I say disorder, it means lack of order. And so the brain health is significantly important. And when you have things like this, as we're seeing in these, it's evident to me that there's a lot more happening to us than we actually realize. So to go back to this whole thing with the drug wars, and he pointed out something about addiction. And the thing is, like I said, it's a business. A drug war is a business. I'm sorry, but this country, our country, that I don't care how patriotic you want to be, we are creating and perpetuating this nonsense. It's, from the production of drugs, the import of drugs, to the criminalization of it, because everybody stands to make money when there's some kind of war. So therefore we have a business. But there is the haves and the have-nots. Now, if you go into psychology programs and you study to be a therapist, which I've been in these, I've taken the coursework, I just don't practice, didn't go for the licensing and practice, but I wanted to understand brain health, which we studied. One of the things that they tell you a lot about, especially when it comes to addiction, is that if somebody comes from a loving family and they have money and they have strong religious beliefs, addiction doesn't usually find its way into those people. So the idea is that poverty contributes to addiction, because they need to make a buck, right? I call bullshit. It's total. I mean, it's that clear that that's exactly how they talk about it. And I'm sitting right here and I'm looking you straight in the eye. I have worked in treatment facilities. I have supported CEOs of wireless phone companies. I have supported FBI agents. I have supported people who work for the government and sectors of the government that if they can't tell you what they do. Yeah, I worked with those kinds of people on people on top of other types of executives. So addiction doesn't know skin color. Addiction doesn't know the size of your bank account. It simply is something that happens. And as I just told my daughter, science understands the brain and the structure more than they're letting on. We may not have a full, grasp of it, simply because it's an organic structure and it's very easy. Well, there's neuroplasticity and there's neurogenesis. There's stuff happening all the time. So you really can't get a full grasp on what's going on, but they have a pretty good idea. And one of those ideas is that caffeine alters the dopaminergic mesolimbic pathway, which is the area of the brain it's the rewards center, okay? The pursuit of the reward. That's what that center is. And caffeine is a known component to a precursor for altering that particular structure, laying down more dopamine receptors. Caffeine. Let's go into another statistic. 95% of the world population consumes caffeine on a regular basis. At that point, we are all now addicts. Like it or not, you're a stinking addict if you consume caffeine on a regular basis. Oh, but lest we forget one more chemical that isn't man-made and it's not found outside of the body. It's in this body. It's called cortisol. It is one of your stress hormones. I said one, but it is a stress hormone that also changes the structure of that particular area of the brain. Think about that for a second. Cortisol changes the dopaminergic mesolimbic pathway. Histamine is also The histaminergic pathway is communicates directly with this pathway. Stress, any kind of stressor, whether it be physical, traumatic, whether it be mental, emotional, environmental, anything that registers as a potential threat to the body activates histamine, which now can, and it's activating histamine, it's activating the autonomic nervous system. Cortisol's kicking out. What do you guys think is going on? We're all walking around with altered brains. I'm not saying we all have traumatic brain injury, but what I am saying is that dopaminergic mesolimbic pathway is adjusting itself according to your stress levels and the way you react to the world. And if we're going to get so hung up on overpowering and trying to, criminalize and victimize and brutalize everybody, all we're doing is adding to this problem. So therefore, it takes somebody to have the balls about them to be willing to do something about their brain, their own brain, in order to have a more proactive response to the circumstances that are going on, so that we can actually rein this shit in and help our fellow man, instead of having everybody, like I said, brutalized, criminalized, and victimized. This is nonsense. This is the dynamic of the brain. So this whole thing with racism has got to stop. I understand we all want to feel equal. I understand we all are equal. I understand we all want to be loved. We all want to be seen and recognized for who we are, and the skills and the gifts. We all want that. And yes, Black lives absolutely matter. Absolutely. But we've got to drop the racism discussion. This narrative has got to come to an end, because this is not, and like my daughter said, the problem actually is poverty and mental health issues. That was her statement, and I agree with her. And mental health is directly related to the quality of our brain health. We have the capacity to improve the state of our brain. I didn't say mind, I said brain. This is significantly important, and this is the reason why I've started Balanced Wellness, so that we can come together confidential, in confidence, and in a safe environment, begin to talk about the things, whatever brings us to the point of realizing that I've got to find a different way to respond. Yeah, I was pretty excited there for a while, because I am very, very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about people not being victimized for being addicts. Hey, look, I've lived with my own form of addictions, and what I didn't share, there's sex, there's porn, there's gambling, there's obviously drugs and alcohol, there's cigarettes, there's just shopping, and then you have all forms of eating disorder. These are all classified as addiction. I've had my fair share. I've lived among it. So, and that's the reason why I set out to understand the brain. Just in case you're even curious about balanced wellness and being able to have this kind of group work going on, it's, I feel like it's inexpensive. It's $22 a month. It is a membership group, and I am trained as an ontological coach. So I do work with the essence of who you are. And so there is some qualifications that go into this. But beyond that, I want to get into a little bit about essential oils here, because it's important. We have never been in a place in our timeline where taking a serious look at how we actually help our health, how we actually, how we help our health. I don't know how else to say it. We're at a pivotal point in our timeline, and that's the reason for essential oils. Now, I'm not saying go to Walmart and buy your oils. That's just no. At $4 a bottle, I don't know what you're getting. You might be getting a little bit of that. But the point that I'm getting at is, there are quality oils. They're called genuine and authentic. Sometimes they're labeled pure. True is another word. Please understand, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody who represents an essential oil company, but therapeutic does not mean quality oil. Therapeutic simply means it has the ability to create a physiological effect. Well, that would be just about any chemical. If it's a lipophilic chemical, guaranteed. So, genuine and authentic, true, pure, essential oils. Those that are packed with sesquiterpenes. Okay, so there's different classifications. I actually do have a program that I had put together, and I'm willing to repackage it even in segments if somebody's interested in beginning to purchase this, where I get into teaching you about essential oils, because there's the monoterpenes and there's the sesquiterpenes. And the monoterpenes, I mean, they have different actually, yeah, well, there's a lot here. I mean, it's a big program. Actually, it started out as breaking the cycle of disease management, and then it kind of transferred into a lot more information with regards to oils and CYP450 enzymes and how to, use them and why to use them on a daily basis. So if you're interested in something like that, please let me know. You can email me, Tammy@synergessence.com, and we can discuss cost because it's important. So at any rate, so oils compact with monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes. The importance here is that sesquiterpenes have the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. We also recognize the fact that certain constituents act like various neurochemicals. This includes hormones. We also recognize the fact that they have the ability to regulate certain systems, such as the endocannabinoid system and the endogenous opiate system. There's recognition of certain constituents having the ability to restore an improved use of acetylcholine throughout the body, which is significant, which means it actually is helping the autonomic nervous system dial itself down. In other words, they help to stabilize the stress response. It's going to take some time to start using oils for brain health, and it's going to take some guidance because whatever's going on in your system is unique to you. Okay, so there's no one size fits all in the way when it comes to oils. I cannot make recommendations based on I just can't, because too many people take medications, not to mention the fact, you may be facing anxiety and or depression, or, or maybe, borderline blood pressure issues, or there's cholesterol issues. I mean, I don't know what's going on with you. So and there would be a specific formula for you. Again, the constituents in essential oils, they kind of overlap, but again, the synergy of those constituents are what contribute to the final property of that oil, and why it is necessary to have a more personalized approach to using oils. It's time to throw the books away. It's time to step away from the websites when it comes to using oils. It's reached that point. Yeah, I don't think I've been this excited about doing a video and a topic as I am today. So if you've gotten this far, thank you for watching. This is very, very important to me. Brain health is on my radar. And as I said, the oils will help. Definitely, hands down, help. The coaching helps. It's important too, because rethinking our response to things and using oils to help in that regard is essential, because it helps us just kind of gain some composure and then rethink it. And it just takes practice. We are so our behaviors are so automatic at this point, and having a second set of eyes and ears, and especially the safety of others who love and support you, I feel like is the most important step we can take for healing. And I mean, I've heard other people. There was a recent video that she does energy readings, and that's how I would say it. And she's on YouTube. It was fairly recently, and it was talking about we need to heal our trauma in order to help the world. Well, what's interesting was I did my video on brain health and trauma, and then I discovered that one. So somebody was telling me that I was on the right track. But the point is like I was looking at the dialogue that was taking place with this video, and everybody, that I could see was saying, "Oh, I've healed my trauma. I've healed my trauma." You may have been able to, recognize what it is. And I don't mean any discredit, because, hey, look, I've had my fair share and I'm still finding my way through this. Healing our trauma means learning how to actually not allow that trauma, the scars of that trauma. So healing from trauma actually means to eradicate the scars and to operate away outside of the scars and go into a more loving, compassionate, empathetic place. Doesn't mean you tolerate being abused. It just simply means that you come at this from a different angle and that the scars are no longer motivating you. That's what healing trauma is to me. And that's what I aim to help people do. And again, the oils actually do make a huge difference, especially when you work with ones, as I said, that come packed with sesquiterpenes. The sesquiterpenes are majorly researched at this point because of their pharmacological actions in the body. And yes, they do cross the blood-brain barrier. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of things that cross the blood-brain barrier. And just in case you might want to know, Cornell University, the last thing I saw was they were in the process of understanding different chemicals that will, not just in essential oils, but in other things like cocaine, the way cocaine can open up the pathways and cross the blood-brain barrier. They're researching this because they're looking to use that mechanism as a form of administering medications. I'm telling you, science understands more than they're letting us know. So in a gentle, holistic, supportive way, because the video I did yesterday talked about farnesol. If you didn't get into seeing it, farnesol is a constituent found in nature. It is also something that the human body produces. It doesn't mix well with cancer treatments, antibiotic therapies, nor does it mix with morphine or codeine because of the way it's processed in the body and the way it's used in the body. Okay? But the point is, to all of that, is the fact that that right there is an indication that we are of nature. We are not separate from nature. We are of nature. When chemicals that are produced in plants are also produced in the human body, how freaking cool is that? Of course we want to use oils because we don't want to use individual constituents. We want to use the full plant. We want to use the oil. Somebody asked me the other day about oils versus herbs. A dried plant, we're just going to use marijuana at this point. Marijuana, if you eat it or smoke it or whatever, if it gets heated up, the heat converts the fatty acids. So THC and CBD are actually fatty acids in the plant. So the heat converts it into a more active form, hence the psychoactive effects of the THC. And the CBD slows down the release of the metabolism of THC. Therefore, it kind of enhances the high. Okay, so that's what CBD does. It's a known liver enzyme influencer, is how I will say that. But there's trace amounts of oils in a plant when you're getting the dried plant. When you use an actual essential oil, it's a far more concentrated dose. And these are lipophilic chemicals that have the ability to modify genetic expression and actually communicate with the DNA. They're extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And I'm not saying they take the place of medications. They work right alongside medication, but I do encourage the use of them if you're not taking medications. I encourage the use if you are taking medication. But this is a way to improve your body's response to the world. Okay? There's nothing out there that's going to heal your body. Essential oils will not heal you. They will, however, help improve the way your body is responding and the way your mind responds to events and other environmental stressors. So I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate you guys very much. Let me know what questions you have. Like I said, Tammy@SynergEssence.com. If you're interested in this package, it's actually 2 courses that I'll combine. It's a lot of material, a lot of material. It'll keep you busy for a good year, trust me. Anyway, let me know if that's something you'd like to know more about. And in the meantime, you guys have a beautiful day wherever you are, and here's to our health.